Hi, it's Louise at Spiral Bright Insight. I'm a galactic and an intuitive astrologer, and I want to talk about the upcoming ingress or move of Jupiter into Cancer. Now, I will talk about some of the more sort of dominant themes and potentials with this energy, and also bring in some of the fixed stars and galactic alignments that are going to take place. And just, as a kind of reminder, and some background information, Jupiter is probably one of the more popular planets in astrology and in the chart. It's a very benefic energy. It's very much linked to expansion, to opportunity, to good fortune, luck, abundance, and growth. So wherever you have Jupiter in your chart, this is where you have got the potential to grow, to expand, to develop. It's very much an energy of optimism, of faith. It's linked to beliefs, also religion, spirituality, philosophy, and the higher mind and higher consciousness come under Jupiter's remit. And really, it is about going as far as you can to experience the most you can in this life. So whenever we have Jupiter aligned with or connected to, aspected to another planet in the chart, it is going to expand the energy, the impact, and the influence of that cosmic body or that archetype. So Jupiter has a 12-year orbit around all 12 signs. So he spends a year in each sign. And on the 9th of June, he's going to complete his year in Gemini and move into Cancer. So Jupiter in Gemini has been quite intense. Obviously, it's not all about Jupiter and Gemini. There's been lots of other energies and transits taking place at the same time. But certainly there has been a real sort of extreme and abundance of information, of facts, of stories. Division, separation also comes through Gemini, because Gemini is the twins. So, there is polarity here. Often we have to make a choice or a decision when we have strong Gemini. But again, lots of mental energy, lots of stories, lots of words, lots of chatter, and quite often mental and nervous overwhelm. But so as Jupiter moves into Cancer, things may start to slow down a little bit from Jupiter's perspective. But of course, we are going to have Uranus move into Gemini just over a month after Jupiter moves out. So, we have to take into account the bigger picture. But for Jupiter's stay in Cancer, which is going to last until June the 26th next year, so June 26th, 2026, when Jupiter moves into Leo, it means that there's going to be a real expansion in the Cancer section of your chart. So if you've got any planets or angles or cosmic bodies that are in Cancer, they are going to get the Jupiter treatment, which is kind of a real boost. Lots of good fortune, lots of luck, lots of expansion is coming your way, wherever that sort of lies, wherever that part of your chart is. So just to remind us about the energies of Cancer, this is the 4th sign in the zodiac. This is cardinal water. Cancer is, if we were to think of the signs around the wheel, Cancer basically sits at the bottom of the wheel. So for me, Cancer is very much linked to foundations, to our roots, to our kind of, it's like a platform, and for me it's like you have to get the foundations strong and the roots and be very grounded in order to achieve success and be able to go out and sort of shine your light and achieve what you want to achieve in this lifetime. So Jupiter in Cancer is going to really shine a light on those foundations, on those roots. Have you got everything in place that you need to feel safe, to feel secure, and to be able to go out and shine your light, to serve, to relate and connect to other people, to explore? As obviously we move around the wheel from Cancer, there's different parts of life that we move through with the different signs. So it's very important that, if you think of the wheel with Cancer at the bottom, that we have this stability and this grounded energy. And, for most people, the way that they can feel grounded and safe in this world is by having a strong sense of nurture, of nourishment, and of home. Cancer is the lunar energy. It's ruled by the moon. So this is very much linked to the mother, to the womb space. This is very strong protector energy. This is strong nurturing, nourishing, feeding, soothing, guiding, protecting. As a water sign, it's a very empathic and intuitive energy. So as Jupiter moves through Cancer, it is likely that for those who are already empathic and sensitive, you may find that your abilities and sensitivities are dialed up. For those perhaps who feel less in touch with sort of energies and the unseen, it may be a time when we're starting to all feel more connected, more in tune and more intuitive and more aware of what other people are going through and thinking and feeling, because of course as empaths it gives you the ability to really tune in and dial into the energies and the emotions and the frequencies and the vibrations of the people and the places around you. And as somebody with Cancer moon, a very strong empath, that can be a superpower. It's great to be able to kind of tune in and feel what other people might be going through, but it also can be a real curse, particularly if you're not aware that that is what is going on and you suddenly feel like, oh, this really strong emotion and it's actually not yours, but it's hard. It can be hard to actually realize that and discern that. So, it's likely that we're going to be feeling more empathic and having more empathy with one another as Jupiter moves through Cancer. And definitely there's going to be a spotlight on the themes of the home, safety, of protection. And what is it that, feels like home? What is home to you? Is it a place? Or is it actually something that can be accessed inside? Because if we feel safe, if we feel secure, if we feel, that we are being looked after, that we are being protected, then we can come in and we can shine our light and we can help others, we can hold space for others. So again, this is going to be a real focus for the coming 12 months. Emotional intelligence and sort of stronger connection to our feelings is likely to be important as well. And with Jupiter, this is spirituality, this is belief system. So it is likely to expand our sense of spirituality, expand our beliefs, but from an internal perspective. Because again, if we're thinking about Cancer as being that root, that inner light, that inner cave, the safe space, the womb energy, then I often see Cancer as sort of representing the inner light that needs to burn bright and keep and stay lit and stay strong in order to support us as we reach up towards the top of the chart and the opposing energy of Capricorn. So if we've got a strong inner sense of who we are and our inner light is strong and stable, it means that we can shine it out and spread it out like a beacon to the wider collective as we project it up to the top of the chart and start to bring in the Capricorn energies. So I also love the fact, obviously we're working strongly with mother energy, with cosmic mother energy. There may be themes coming forward that maybe ask us to question who are we? Who is our mother? Where do we come from? Cancer is very much linked to our roots, to our lineage and to our ancestry. So I do feel that that is likely to be in the spotlight as Jupiter moves through. And we may find that our beliefs or our understanding is challenged when it comes to sort of remembering or knowing or connecting to where we come from. And this is going to be a collective, this is very much for all of us. So although some of us already have a strong idea of where we might come from, I feel that this might be sort of more centre stage, more mainstream as people start to get information or have their belief systems challenged as to where we come from. And when I talk about we, I'm talking about humanity. What is humanity's history? What is humanity's lineage? Is what we've been told or what we've sort of been brought up to believe true, or are there other things to consider? And of course, as we start to open up our understanding of who we are and our lineage, it may actually help us to become more connected with one another as things shift and change and we grow in our belief system. So I'm also very drawn to the fact that Cancer is a water sign and the power of the water, and the potential again to work with the water to heal and to help us, to guide us, and to gain a new understanding of how sacred water is, how powerful it is in terms of its ability to reflect, to serve as a mirror so that we can see the truth of who we are and where we've come from, to carry wisdom, and also as in terms of a resonance and how we are all sort of made of water, and water is all around us and all the information that it carries, and how we can start to work with it more to empower us, to guide us, to nourish and protect us. So again, just coming back to the idea of Cancer as a safe space, as a container, as something, a womb space that we can create something from, again, to guide us forward. Jupiter is going to come into some squares very early on as he moves into Cancer. He will first of all meet with Saturn, and that's at 1 degree of Aries, and then he will meet with Neptune. So the square with Saturn is essentially, it is a reality check. Whenever we're sort of faced with Saturn, we have to make sure that we have got the structures in place, that we're doing something for the long term, that we're sort of taking a responsible and quite serious approach. And in Aries, Saturn is really creating something from the roots up, something that can take us through his next cycle around the zodiac, something that is going to be potentially pioneering, that we may not have tried before, but that is also designed to bring us into a much stronger and more stable and more, mature and masterful relationship with who we are, with our identity. And of course, with the square to Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter is sort of saying, as Saturn sort of works through these early degrees of Aries and is exploring the identity and understanding and sense of self, Jupiter is pushing for expansion through that process, but also making sure that we bring our emotions along for the ride as well, that we can basically expand and work on our emotional intelligence and our emotional connection as we move through this square, reminding us that perhaps home is not somewhere or something or a physical place or a physical structure or house, but again, that home is something that has to be found within if we are truly to feel safe and secure and grounded in this world and in this reality. We may actually question whether we are safe, whether we are protected, or whether, perhaps, situations that we have found ourselves in that seemed to be the answer maybe aren't quite so. And of course, with the square to Neptune, that is when potentially illusions may start to be shattered or lines may be blurred even more. But regardless, with the square, it is trying to push through the fog, push through the illusion, so that we can really start to expand our sense of who we are and expand our sense of safety and our sense of home. Jupiter in Cancer is making sure that we can really work on our emotional connection, our emotional intelligence, and also our emotional literacy, because emotions are such a strong and profound and key aspect of being human, of the human experience. And it is about being able to work with them and to understand and see them as actually an ally and something that, is a precious gift, even when the emotions might be challenging or from our perspective more negative. They are still something that need to be faced, they need to be felt, they need to be experienced in order to maximize the opportunity that we have and ultimately to experience the expansion and the growth that we are here to work through. Now, in addition to the squares to Neptune and Saturn, there will be a square to the Supergalactic Centre, which is 2 degrees of Libra. So that's going to happen quite quickly as well. And this is one of the cosmic points that really serves as a huge magnetic pull towards a massive cosmic mirror. Now, when we have the Supergalactic Centre, we are stretched way beyond our sense of reality. We may have to really question who we thought we are or who we've believed we are, what we thought was home. is what we thought was safety and protection. What is that? Was that really real? Was it true? Because the Supergalactic Centre is going to challenge that. Supergalactic Centre, all the cosmic points seek truth. They connect us to something much more powerful, much more beyond, taking us way beyond the 3D, out into other dimensions, other states and other realities. And with the Supergalactic Centre, it creates a void that, is so pressing and so real and so present, that you feel you have to go out there, you have to discover more, you have to know more, because the void is so obvious and so uncomfortable that you're constantly trying to fill it. So it will push you to want to know more, to be more, to do more. But ultimately, as far as you can go, the most you can do, the most you can be, it's never going to feel enough. And that is when you ultimately realize that you have to come back to the self, because that is where the fulfillment lies, and that is where the light lies, and that is where the home lies. So Supergalactic Centre reminds us that all experiences outside of ourselves are actually a reflection of our inner world, of our inner reality, of our inner truth. And with the square to Jupiter in Cancer, it's like we want to find out, we want to reconnect to home, we want to find home, we want to feel at home within the self. But ultimately, if we've been looking outside of the self and trying to fill that void and that emptiness that we feel, that longing for something, it's about coming back in. And that square is really going to push and create resistance, so that we have no option but to work with this and to look at it and to explore it, and hopefully come to some new realizations and understandings, and also and potentially new belief systems as well, when we're seeing things from a much higher perspective, which is what Jupiter also encourages us to do. So the square to the Supergalactic Centre, there will be a trine to Shapley, again at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So this is going to be more aligned, more flow-based and more supportive, but equally Shapley is another very strong, huge gravitational force pulling us back so that we can connect to the truth of who we are, to our original form, to source energy, to the cosmic womb. And with the trine here, Jupiter wants to kind of connect us, make us understand, our roots, our ancestors, our lineage, the frequency of home. And Shapley is going to make sure that whatever it is that we're finally understanding is completely grounded and rooted in truth. So pulling away the veils, pulling away the masks, pulling away the distortions, so that all we have got left is the absolute truth. And effectively the founding energy, taking us back to our original form, free of patterning, free of conditioning, free of manipulation, which is ultimately hugely healing and will help us transform back into who we were supposed to be. So that's going to be really, really beautiful and really supportive. And of course, at the same time as Jupiter is trine Shapley, he's also going to be trine Haumea, who is also in the early degrees of Scorpio. And this is the goddess, the Hawaiian goddess of fertility and childbirth. So she, again, is seeking regeneration, rebirth, the creation of something new, breaking through old paradigms, cutting away illusions, making sure that everything that we create is very much aligned with Earth. But it may come from places where we weren't expecting, because Haumea as a goddess was able to birth children and babies from any part of her body. And that kind of reminds me, or makes me think of, we might think that we're creating something, but it might come in a completely different form or from a completely different angle or perspective or source point than we might have anticipated. So it's about being open to possibility and ready for anything, and understanding that regeneration and rebirth might not come in the way that we are expecting it to, but it will be powerful in whatever form it presents. Now, in the galactic astrology, Jupiter is going to meet with stars in the Sirius system. First of all, meeting with Sirius B and Mirzam at 7 degrees of Cancer, and then moving round to meet with Sirius and Canopus, which is a star in the Carina constellation. So these are all really beautiful energies, pulling us back to the water, the frequency of the water, and understanding how sacred the waters are, particularly Sirius B, which is a water planet, so very linked to marine life, to the whales, to the dolphins, to the mer people, and all those ancient secrets and wisdom that is hidden beneath the surface, in the depths of the water, in the oceans, carried in the water. There can often be a really strong sense of isolation and not fitting in when Sirius B is active in the chart. So that, again, may be something that almost pushes us to kind of move beyond that feeling and try and overcome it, and navigate it and really explore it and work it out, understand it ultimately, which is going to possibly trigger questions and maybe even challenge our belief systems again. With Mirzam, this is the star that lies at the foot of the dog in the constellation. So this is the star that is kind of ahead of, moving forward, and is often linked to an announcement or something being heralded, something rising, coming to light that, perhaps we didn't see before. So that will be interesting to watch. And again, I'm sure we'll talk about those energies more as we move through the next 12 months. Sirius A is linked to very ancient wisdom, linked to ancient Egypt, to Atlantis, wisdom, knowledge, esoteric, healing, mystery school, all the different modalities that perhaps we are working with today that have roots in ancient lifetimes and ancient times in other cultures, often regarded as the spiritual sun and worshipped as such. So this is really interesting energy that is going to be activated as Jupiter moves around and expands Sirius A in our charts. And the star Canopus in Carina is the keel of the boat. So again, this is about sort of moving forward, having guidance, celestial guidance and protection, and ultimately being a leader and a lighthouse and a port in the storm for all those people who may be struggling or may be feeling lost at sea because of all the changes that are taking place. And then later on in Cancer, Jupiter will meet Procyon, which is a star that is very linked to human galactic history, but also ties in with very advanced technology, with very futuristic perspectives and understanding and knowledge, and also a real focus on light as a source of energy and empowerment. So we will talk about Procyon further down the line. And then at the end of Cancer, there will be a conjunction with Monoceros, which is the unicorn energy. So that, again, very magical, very beautiful. There will be lots of squares with stars Alpha Reticuli that we've mentioned recently, Andromeda, Algorab, Spica, Arcturus and Vega in Capricorn. There will be further trines with Fomalhaut, which is one of the royal stars linked to Archangel Gabriel and to the messenger, to communication, to new starts. Deneb Adige, which is the Swan Cygnus constellation, lovely connections there to the angelics, but also the elemental energy and beings, the Fae. Then in trine to Achernar, which is another star linked to water, the river constellation, elemental energy playing a really strong part there, bringing us back to nature, bringing us back to the wisdom that is held within nature and the earth, and also the water. Ankaa, the star in the Phoenix constellation, sort of reminding us again, of the requirement to bring everything down to the ground, to start again, and having the faith that, if you do lose everything or you do completely transform, that you will only ever become more powerful. And of course, with the Phoenix, there's also the link to the tears and the healing tears and the salt water of the tears, which links back to the water themes of Cancer. And then towards the end, we'll have the Pegasus trines, which is the winged horse, the freedom, the liberation, the being able to see the bigger picture. Now, in terms of asteroids, there's just two I wanted to highlight. There will be a trine to Atlantis and Scorpio in September this year. So again, that will be something to watch. I'm loving the idea that with the trine to Atlantis, there may be wisdom coming up from beneath the surface, things that have been long ago buried due to the floods, that happened in Atlantis, but ancient wisdom coming back, being reborn to help us reconnect to the truth of who we are and that beautiful healing wisdom and knowledge that has been contained and possibly hidden for millennia. Then we also have Isis. The goddess Isis will conjunct Jupiter at 28 degrees of Cancer next year in June 2026. So that is really beautiful. And I've been called to do a separate little video about Isis because she is very prominent at this time as she is moving through Taurus. So I will come back to her energy, but I just wanted to kind of give you a flavour for what we are looking at as an overall transit. I hope that, you know, what I've shared has resonated. It's maybe given you some food for thought. Obviously, these are all just energies, suggestions, ideas. We don't know how it's going to play out. It will be different for everybody, but collectively, these are the themes that we are likely to be working with. So for those of you with strong Cancer placements, you know, this is going to be a time of huge expansion and huge growth potentially. So be ready for that. And, you know, keep watching my channel, and obviously we'll try and go into more detail and dissect things in more depth as we move through this transit. Obviously, it's not definitive. There will be other aspects, other alignments that take place, but those were just a few of the main ones that stood out to me as I was preparing for this video. So just a reminder, if you are not on my mailing list and you want to be, you can sign up for that on my website, spiralbright.co.uk. I still have my special deep dive report on Uranus in Gemini, which is called Voices from the Stars. That is available to purchase for £8. There is a link in the description box below, and I've had some beautiful feedback about that already. So if you're interested in learning more about what Uranus in Gemini is likely to present, some of the galactic themes, some of the more, I guess, cosmic starseedy themes that might be sort of coming forward, then that might be something you want to look at. All the details are on the page if you go to the link, and you can purchase that. It's a downloadable PDF. As always, I have my super thanks button, so if you wish to exchange, you know, show your appreciation for my work, all contributions are really, really gratefully received. And I think that's all. I will be back with a video about the full moon in Sagittarius, which is coming up very quickly as well. Suddenly we're in this time where lots is happening again, although I don't know why I'm saying suddenly, because that's ongoing. But as always, I'm really grateful for your support, for you tuning in, for you watching my content, and also commenting and sharing my video. I really, really appreciate that as well. So sending lots of love, and I will be back soon.